In this video, we are going to talk about lines that intersect and what kinds of relationships that we have. So the first one is we have what's called vertical angles. Vertical angles are when you have two lines that cross, 1 and 3 are vertical angles, and 2 and 4 are vertical angles. And they are always the same in measurement. So they're congruent to each other. So whatever that one is, that one is. So if that's 20 degrees, then that one's 20 degrees. So what we can say is that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and angle 2 would be congruent to angle 4. Okay, so vertical angles are just angles, but you have two lines that cross that they're just across from each other. And then within that same picture, we have angles that are called adjacent angles. And adjacent angles are the angles that are next to each other, and they are supplementary. So 1 and 2 are supplementary, which means angle 1 plus angle 2 would equal 180. 2 and 3, same thing. They would add up to 180. And then you'd have two other sets. So you could say 3 and 4, or you could say 1 and 4. All right. Now that's if you have two lines crossing. Three lines are you have two lines that are being intersected by 1. So that's known as a transversal. Okay, so that's just a line passing through two or more lines. Two or more lines. Typically, we connect that with parallel lines. That these two lines are parallel, and then they're cut by a transversal. There's some nice relationships that happen on that, and we'll talk about that when we get down to this picture. But we just have some terminology that we want to make sure that we're familiar with. We have interior angles. So interior angles are this collection of 4 right here. They're in between those two lines. So interior angles would be 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, and then exterior angles are the other ones. So 1 and 2 are on the outside, 7 and 8 are on the outside. So 1, 2, 7, and 8. And then alternate angles mean that they are on alternate sides of this line. So you have these 4 angles are on the left side, these 4 are on the right side. So we have things like alternate interior. And that would be having like 3 with 6. Because you want to take a chunk from this. You want to take one from this chunk of angles and compare it to one from this chunk of angles. So 3 and 6 would be considered alternate interiors. So angle 3 with angle 6. And then 4 and 5 would be considered alternate interiors as well. Okay, so we're not taking 3 and 4 because that wouldn't need this additional line. That's something else. Okay, so alternate interiors are taking one from one chunk of 4 and combining it with another chunk of 4. And then you have the same thing with the exterior. So alternate exterior, you would have 1 with 8 and 2 with 7. All right. Says, what do you know about alternate exterior angles? So 1 with 8 is if the lines are parallel. We use a symbol for that. So if the lines are parallel, then congruent. So you would have, if these things are parallel, which you're going to see on this next picture, then you would have angle 1 would be congruent with angle 8, and angle 2 would be congruent with angle 7. All right, and then alternate interiors, same exact situation. If the lines are parallel, then they would be congruent. So you're looking at 3 would be congruent with 6. And then angle 4 would be congruent with angle 5. Okay, so if you have a picture like this one down below, we have two lines that are parallel, and they tell you one angle is 125 degrees. Okay, so you got a whole lot of things that can happen real quick. Is we're going to ignore that other line, that other chunk of 4. First off, we have vertical angles. 2 and 3 are going to be the same measurement. 1 and 4 are going to be the same measurement. 1 and 2 make a straight line. So I know that these two together will make 180. Okay, so I can start doing some calculations here and start labeling some stuff, and then I'll throw it into my answers. So 180 minus 125 leaves you with 55. So that puts this angle at 55, which makes this angle down here at 55. These two are verticals, so they're the same. So already we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 55. Angle 2 is 125. Angle 3 is 125. And then angle 4 is 55. All right, so then with that idea that if lines are parallel, alternate exteriors or interiors are going to be the same. So like 1 combines with 8. Those two are the same. So if I label that, I already can pretty much finish the rest of these other ones. So 5 would also be, get the wrong value. 8 is 55, which makes 5 55. Right, so, and then these are alternate interiors, these are alternate interiors, or these are supplementary. You got a lot of different ways of getting the same answers. These are vertical angles, so they're the same. You know, a lot of different ways of kind of getting those values. So we got angle 5 being at 55 degrees, angle 6 is 125, and then angle 7 is also 125. All right, so that was categorizing angles when you have 2 or more lines intersecting.